Welcome back to Orange Hat Reviews, everyone. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. So, um, this is the end of Monday Mayhem, unless I can come up with some other cheesy movies that people find odd and whatnot. Let me get my headphones in.
Doing? Person in the chat. Vanya, good to see you. The epic conclusion of a great saga. Yeah, Sharknado, folks. What a ride. Let's just say that. But before we get started, make sure that you chomp that like button or hit the like button, smash the like button, whatever you feel like doing to that thing. Be a BDSMer. Anyway. Yeah, we are going to be talking the last Sharknado. As insane as, these movies progressively got more insane, folks. Progressively getting more insane, but I don't think that anything will get or will be more insane than the fourth one. Yeah, the fourth one, because sharks in space kind of just is like, what the actual fuck. It's like, what? Honestly, or third one is Sharks in Space. The fourth one is where everything starts going to shit. Yeah. But anyway, we're talking the fifth one or the sixth one now, so let's get to it. Anyway, before I do get started, hey Elena, good to see you. Friday the 13th marathon. If I could, I would. The future is unknown for me in November, so I will not know exactly what I'm doing at that time. So, we'll see. Anyway, let's get this going down a little bit more. There we go. The space beginning of Sharknado, where it's like they actually put up the last Sharknado. It's not in the same kind of catchy tone as the other movies, and we're in the dinosaur era, and time travel was established at the end of the fifth one, where Dolph Lundgren is his son who took the long way from the past to the future. And I'm thinking to myself, so what are they going to do in this one? And it's good to see you all, by the way. And fuck Norris, good to see you, man. Yeah, okay, we're good. We're past 30 seconds, so yeah. Hey, Orange Hat and Friends, looking for more. Thank you, dude. I do appreciate it. And thank you, Vanya. It really does help. So we then see that there's dinosaurs, the time traveling Hummer, and he has to go up to 88 miles per hour. And I'm thinking to myself, they really went there. And you then see that the mission is to destroy the Sharknados from the first up through time in order to prevent the Sharknados that end the world in the current present that they escaped from. Because if you remember from the end of the last movie, a Sharknado or Sharknados wiped out the world. Everybody died except for Finn. He was the last survivor. And he ends up getting a message where Gil is basically doing like a Princess Leia kind of message. I can't go back in time with you. You can only go back once. So when he went back in time, he went back in time when there were Sharknados. Now, folks, I don't know if this is confirmed, but I am willing to bet that the people who did the Meg 2, I think they've seen the Sharknado movies, because there's a scene in the dinosaur era where there is a big old giant megalodon. And, that megalodon jumps up and eats a T-Rex. And I'm thinking to myself, right, that actually you're telling me that just happened. A freaking T-Rex just got eaten by a megalodon in this movie, which took place in 2018. And you're telling me that or 2018, 2019, and now you're telling me that the Meg 2 does the same damn thing. That's an awfully big coincidence, folks. I'm probably gonna kind of do a movie or a video about it, because holy crap, I'm starting to wonder if the Meg 2 ripped off Sharknado. So, getting back to it, we then see that his friend from Sharknado 2 with the big old baseball bat who got eaten in the subway, he's somehow in the past. And I'm thinking to myself, wait, what? Then April is alive in the past, riding a freaking pterodactyl. Nova is alive again. Everybody, all these people died in the last movies or in the previous movies. And I'm thinking to myself, what the frick? And so I'm looking down at my talking points here, and it's like in the past, or Gil somehow traveled through time using Sharknadoes, as he explains in the past or in the last movie, and he's like, Gil rescued us from all these different, or his future self rescued us, or his older self rescued us from the moments before we died. We didn't die, and so they have no memories of dying. And Finn is like, but you died, but you died, but you died. And it's like, no, we didn't die. We didn't die. We didn't die. It's just cheesy dialogue. And freaking April riding a pterodactyl. And I'm thinking to myself, really? Fucking really? So then we get meteorites, and it's a pteranodon. It's like, it's not a pterodactyl, it's a pteranodon. And they have to dodge the meteors. And now this pteranodon can use its tail to smack meteors out of midair at this very first Sharknado in prehistoric times. And I'm thinking to myself, right. So they end up seeing the megalodon that got sucked up into the Sharknado. And so Gil, or Finn, jumps onto it, has it eat a meteor that's falling, or that falls, and the shark catches the freaking meteor and starts burning up from the inside. So then the pteranodon smacks another meteor into that shark and causes a massive explosion to kill the first Sharknado. But while that Sharknado's dying, he sees his young son in the past, or in that time, and he's like, Gil, I'm coming. But then Gil disappears through the Sharknado through that purple vortex thingy. And it's like, oh shit, he just went back through time, or he just went forward through time. So he also still had his little shark helmet on. So then they end up in medieval times, or before they get into medieval times, they manage to have a cartoony, sung in a 70s kind of way, like I Dream of Jeannie kind of theme, or Bewitched kind of theme with the Sharknadoes. It's females this time instead of the guys doing Sharknado. So we then see Arrival in Camelot, and there's this tranny woman who's playing Morgan Le Fay. It's a guy who thinks he's a woman. It's transgender. And I'm thinking to myself, what's this fucking tranny witch doing? And so they shoot down the pterodactyl, because everybody went through with the pterodactyl, because the pterodactyl apparently can fly 88 miles per hour. Yeah. You got to go 88 miles per hour to go through time. Good luck doing that in medieval England. Anyway. And so then Merlin's assistant comes up, and it's Miranda Sirtis from Star Trek. And I'm thinking to myself, I didn't recognize her until she died. Until a shark landed on her and she died. I did not recognize her until that moment, because she dies later on. And Merlin is played by none other than Neil deGrasse Tyson, the science man. And so we then see Gil out in the waves getting close to the Sharknado. He's 10 years older than he was from a little kid. And they're like, I got to save my son. He's like, no, you can't save your son, because he has to keep going. He has to make it to you to send you back. Otherwise, there's a huge old time conundrum and whatnot. As much as you want to see your son, you have to let him go through the time warp. So we then see that Merlin was taught by the House of Shepherd, which was Gil. Little Gil stayed there for 10 years, taught Merlin everything, and also learned under Merlin. And so then when then they finally get curious about Finn, who's carrying this bag, and he's like, "What's in the bag, Finn? What's in the bag? What's in the bag?" And April, who was still alive, who only had the cybernetic hand, now she was, or before she got squashed by the space shuttle in the third movie's post-credit scene, she was pulled out from before that, just after she gave birth to little Gil. So yeah, so it's like she just got saved before she got crunched. So it's like she only has her rope or her cybernetic hand, and that's it. And so it's like she sees her robotic head because, April in the later movies was a cyborg. So it's like very awkward that they meet each other. And she's like, "You actually thought this was me?" It's like, "But I am you." It's like, "Don't worry, I forgive you, Finn." It's like, there's nothing to forgive. That is you. That is his current you. So time travel is trippy, folks. And so then we see the time travel rules. You got to kill the Sharknadoes. Tranny bitch wants Excalibur, and everybody's trying to get Excalibur. And so Finn manages to pull Excalibur out of the stone. Now, what is Excalibur but another freaking type of medieval chainsaw sword that has magical lightning powers. Yeah. So he's able to vanquish the Sharknado. And also you see Merlin step up. And Finn is knighted and becomes a knight. And it's like she also made the sharks, or tranny bitch Morgana makes the Sharknadoes, or the sharks inside the Sharknadoes, breathe fire with magic. So it's like, what a bitch, you know? And so there's the one scene where he slices the shark in two, like he did in the second one. And then after he they finally fix that year's Sharknado problem, they have to get ready to go through the portal before the Sharknado dissipates all the way. Well, they have to find a way to get to 88 miles per hour. And so the pterodactyl that got shot down by arrows is somehow able to still fly, and they get launched with a catapult, and it's still not fast enough. So the catapult has to, or the pteranodon smacks it with the tail. Now, here's a funny thing: the Brian, the guy that is the guy that was the one with the big bat, he turned into a black woman in this whole scene in Camelot, because apparently time travel has weird rules. And it's like this is the only person that it happens to. So it's kind of weird. And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell, man? Sorry, I'm bleeding, so I got to get rid of that. Yeah. I mean, it's like, who's this woman? So then they managed to get to Boston, 1776. Paul Revere, the British are coming, the British are coming, the sharks are coming, the sharks are coming. And I'm thinking to myself, what? So then we see Ben Franklin, who introduces us to George Washington, or a very convincing gay George Washington. And Ben Stein is Alexander Hamilton. So they have to convince everybody to fight this new Sharknado. And the Sharknado starts glowing blue and dying with fireworks. And Nova meets her great-great-great-grandfather. So she wants to prevent her great-great-great-grandfather, or she wants to send a message through time, like Doc Brown did from the past to the future, and to tell her grandfather not to get in a boat on a certain date. Well, Finn finds out about this, tears up the note, and it's like, are you serious, man? Nova still wants to prevent her grandfather from dying because she needs her grandfather, you know? She's like, you're saving your family, why can't I save mine? And it really isn't touching, or she's like, you're screwing with time just as much as I'm trying to. So it's like, what makes you any better, you know? And we don't see Finn. Actually, we do see little Gil, or a slightly older Gil, go through time in this one, or before they notice, because he had to go sail out to the Sharknado. And then we get the lightning kite thing that Ben Franklin did to discover lightning. And that is able to launch a carriage to make it go 88 miles per hour, a horse carriage, which launches them through time again. And they end up in the Wild, Wild West. Now, Brian, the guy with the big bat, he stays behind in 1776. Why? I don't know. But it's like, you're an idiot. So, we then learn that he later fucks with time because he ends up being on the front of the $1 bill instead of Washington. So we're then in the Wild Wild West, and Twisted Sister, the lead singer of Twisted Sister, I can't remember his name. He's the sheriff, and he's about to do a quick draw against Billy the Kid. Well, Billy the Kid gets interrupted with this quick draw by Finn and the carriage falling out of the sky. And it allows Billy the Kid to get away. So Finn ends up getting arrested by Sheriff Twisted Sister. And he's like, you're really twisted, mister. And it's like, yep. And he does the whole, we're not going to take it anymore and stuff like that. He gives a lot of homages to his own stuff. And in this time, while Finn is in the gallows waiting for his time to hang, he's talking to this other guy that he can't see, and it turns out to be Gil because he's wearing the same wings that his grandfather gave him, because those will help him travel through time because they have a modulator and whatnot. Well, when the sheriff's like, any last words? Yeah, Semper Paratus. And he's like, wait, because that's their family motto, Semper Paratus, always prepared. And he actually, he's like, wait, Gil, it's me, Dad. He doesn't care at that point. He actually just wants to see his son. Well, his son manages to escape because Sky is there from the second Sharknado movie, who died tragically. It's like, that ain't right, man. You got to bring her back. Well, I'm glad they did bring her back in the sixth one, because she got pulled out before she got blasted off the Empire State Building and then killed. So she ends up able to save Gil, because Gil was supposed to be helped by Billy the Kid to go through the Sharknado. So, she ends up helping him. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, so now they get to live. Well, it's good that Vivica A. Fox is back and whatnot, and I like how she's back and such. And they need help from the April head, because they're about to do a quick draw, and Twisted Sister gets sharked, so he loses his arm, and then he gets crushed by another shark and whatnot. And then Robot April has laser eyes that she gets to shoot at the Sharknado after Gil goes through it. And then they have to catch a train, which they have to undo the cars for speed. So there's another Back to the Future reference there. And they end up getting launched into the 50s, where Gilbert Gottfried is back again. And it's like, oh my God, man. So Santa Monica, California, Gil is surfing, or an older Gil is surfing into a Sharknado before he becomes the older Gil that we all know, which is the Dolph Lundgren one. And there's these guys, or there's this hippie with a ray gun shooting the Sharknado that's developing off the coast. And I'm thinking to myself, how does a hippie have a gun? And it's Tori Spelling and Dean McDermott, they're married in real life. And I'm thinking to myself, huh, that's weird. And so then it turns out that those are Finn's parents, and that they have another bigger thing, because the professor, they refer to him as the professor, the one that just surfed into a Sharknado and disappeared, which was Gil, taught them modern technology. He's like, we have to destroy it after we use it. And it's like, yeah, damn right you do. So they managed to get rid of the Sharknado, and they're using the Cadillac to go 88 miles an hour to go through time again. And it's like, oh my God. Now, I mean, that whole scene was a freaking trip. And then there's also this band, and Choji from the first one, the guy that plays Choji from Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, or Shippuden, is like, and my mom always told me that Hollywood would kill me. And then a shark just comes out and chomps him like it did in the last one, or ends up chomping him, because in the first one, he gets killed by the Hollywood sign, and it's like, ah! Dude died again. So they arrive in San Francisco because they have a capacitor that is much like Doc Brown's capacitor from Back to the Future. And it's like, oh my God. So Nova messed with it to send them to 1997 instead of 2013. So when you mess with time, it tends to mess back, as we all know. And, well, Nova does try to prevent her grandfather from dying. She meets her younger self. Now, the girl who plays Nova, or the woman who plays Nova, had a kid, which is very evident in the 4th and 5th and 6th movie. She doesn't look like her, or she doesn't look, or she has mama weight. Let's just say that. She put on mama weight. And she never really lost the baby weight. So you see that, or the younger version of her is actually her real life daughter, which is a nice little touch there. So they go out, and Finn's trying to tell her, it's like, you can't fuck with time. If you screw with time, it will screw everything up. Well, then the sharks start attacking at the time, and she ended up inadvertently causing the whole incident to happen. And this freaking Mitch McConnell looking motherfucker is the captain of the ship. He's like, I'm too old for this stuff, and I didn't even remember to take my meds. Why am I even piloting this thing? But he doesn't sound like Mitch McConnell. But it's like, oh my God, this dude really does look like Mitch McConnell. Yeah, the flux capacitor. And so, Cyborg April's head falls into the drink, and then April goes after Nova to try to save her, and they both end up getting eaten. And he's like, "Oh my God, I tried saving them, and every time I try to do things, everybody dies." And it's like, yikes, you know? Well, they can't, or the flux capacitor is not working. Right, so they end up, the boat has been trashed. Well, now they grab onto a shark, a great white shark that happens to be able to swim at 88 miles per hour. Not even Makos can swim that fast, folks. So yeah, it's kind of weird. So they end up changing it to 2013, except that they end up in the year 20,013. Like 20,000 years too far, or 18,000 years too far. And so it's like, oh God. So they arrive into 2013. There's robo-flying sharks and an army of Aprils. Now, April, or the Queen April, is the head that was left back in 1997. And it blames Finn for not going back to find her. And it became obsessive obsessively in love with Finn. And so it kept the original April alive. So it traveled back in time to save April from before dying. And so she's still alive in suspended animation. And so now there's an army of Aprils that are being cloned, and humanity is long since dead. So it's like, well, then what do you need from me? Your DNA, so we can be together forever. And it's like, oh my God, it's one of those ones. So then April versus Robo April, and April ends up waking up and she loses. So Finn is sent back in time again, and he manages to save, or to the 2013, to the original first Sharknado movie events, the original beginning of the Sharknado 1 movie, where it's the the shark hunters and whatnot, and apparently they found a head like 18 years ago or something like that, or like 15 years ago. They found a head in the water, and it's been like a good luck charm. It was the April head that was left behind. So it's like, oh my God, so she's back. And so they're trying to stop this first Sharknado, and she needs her eye lasers to recharge. And it's like, you're a freaking talking head, man. So then we have the shark chumming, the tributes number 2. Gil is alive, and Finn has to get into the Sharknado again, but it turns out to be a fake Sharknado, or a fake Gil. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, yeah, that just seriously. He's like, yeah, Semper Fidelis, man. You mean Semper Paratus. Oh, shit. So it turns out that it's evil April is back, making a fake Gil. And I'm thinking to myself, geez. So now it's April head gets eaten by a shark during this Sharknado, but then it's flying with its mouth open like this, and her head is right here in the mouth, and it's able to blast the Sharknado still, and also kill the evil Robo April that it becomes later. And she's like, there's a failsafe. You gotta kiss me, you gotta blow my mind. There's a button that you gotta push, and it will either reset the universe, or reset the time, or destroy the universe, because they can't stop the Sharknado. So he has to kiss the head in order to blow her mind. And her head is stuck in the mouth of one of the great white sharks. And so, okay, so then it resets. It's a new past during the events of the Sharknado movies. So the Sharknado didn't happen. And, well, apparently Finn's bar is now becoming Martin's bar, which is played by the lead singer to, what's their names? Martin McGrath is his name. And April is pregnant for Gil. George is alive because he didn't die from the first Sharknado. Kevin McAllister's father from Home Alone. And Sky is running for president. Nova loves sharks instead of hates them. So there's a lot of different things going on. And Finn wants to retire and be like a forest trimmer, like a lumberjack with chainsaws and stuff. So there's a little, or these are not the same characters from the ones that we all knew. This is the reset timeline. And it's great to see everybody back. Gary Busey is there too, because it's April's father, and all the family and friends. Gil, I think, is born a little earlier than usual, but I'm guessing not, because it's Mark McGrath is taking over the bar. But it does kind of get really confusing there. It's like, is Gil being born earlier than usual, or what's going on, you know? And then we see the Today Show which has a weather of no storms at all for a complete day. And that's when they end it. And then they have a mid-credit scene where psych, instead of Sharknadoes that start to happen, it is gators and croc tsunamis. And I'm thinking to myself, don't make a movie series out of that. Please just don't make a movie series out of that. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, at least this movie is done. The series is done. They're hilarious as fuck. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, just when you thought they couldn't get any more insane, croc gator tsunamis, man. Croc gator tsunamis. Yeah. But yeah, folks, this movie is, you can't objectively score these movies. They're definitely zeros. But subjectively, they're crazy enough that I find a little bit of enjoyment out of them. So I will definitely give Sharknado 6 out of sheer insanity it's a 9 out of 10. It's insanely fun. It's crazy. You can't really expect any quality out of it, but it works and it's fun to watch. It's good for a freaking turn your brain off and laugh, you know? And moviegoer, I actually managed to stay in my seat to watch this thing all the way through. So yes, moviegoer, it's a 10 out of 10 if you like these crazy shit movies. But yeah, that's the review. I only go around 30 odd minutes. And thank you to Vanya, Fuck Norris, Elena, and that's about it for those who joined. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for tomorrow when I do my Tuesday theme stream with Batman 89. I'm going to watch that as soon as I get off of here to do the talking points. And then I'm going to be on the Ballroom Tuesday night, tomorrow night. And I'll probably get some more content out for you guys over the week, depending on what kind of news there is. Rachel Ziegler is a hot topic, and I'm trying to find some new news on her. I'm not going to go through all that bullshit Mike Zero news that they're covering, because that's just stupid. And I'm also trying to do some more Alec Baldwin news, because I think we all should know about that. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in, folks. It's been a trip. And I will talk to you all on the next one. Next week, we begin ones and twos on Mara's channel, and then the singles on my channel. And we're going to be doing Dracula Untold on Thursday and Evil Dead on Wednesday. So stay tuned for those. So yeah. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. You all have a wonderful night. This has been Orange Hat Reviews. Stay humble.